Good evening, friends. Welcome to this evening's webinar. My name is Brahmachari Aditya, and I'm speaking from Ananda Sangha in Pune. And as you know, this evening we share from Swami Kriyananda ji's book, Affirmations for Self-Healing. And the affirmation for today is peace of mind. So let's begin by doing a prayer and a very brief moment of silence, and then we will affirm this together. Let's sit up straight. Let's take a double breath. Tense the body. Breathe out. One more time. All the muscles that you can gather, bring them under your conscious control. Breathe out as if releasing the tensions. This last time, as you breathe in, bring in energy and vitality. Tense all the muscles, and as you relax, feel that energy, vitality, that sense of peace spreading throughout the body. Let's take a moment to feel this. And now let's pray together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, beloved friend God, great masters of Kriya Yoga, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar Ji, beloved Guru, Paramhans Yogananda Ji, we bow before you all. We invite thee in this satsang to bless and guide us. Help us feel thy presence within us in the form of peace. And help us share that peace through our words, thoughts, feelings, and actions. Om. Friends, the affirmation for today is on peace of mind. And Kriyananda ji writes over here, peace of mind is the result not of money in the bank, but of prayer and meditation. The more one contacts God in meditation, the more he feels descending upon him a blanket, as it were, of inner peace, cooling his body, calming his restless impulses, and thrilling his nerves with ever new delight. Peace is like a weightless waterfall, washing away all worries and bestowing a new, glad sense of confidence. Peace of mind is his who knows that God is his only treasury. Sitting upright, let's affirm together now, loudly at first. From pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. In a normal voice now, from pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. In a whisper now, from pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. Mentally only now, from pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. And finally, with deep relaxation but concentration at the spiritual eye, feeling the reality behind these words. From pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. Let's sit in silence for a few moments, reflecting on those words, the power, the reality behind them. Let us mentally pray together. All that I own is thine, Lord. Help me to know thee as the river of peace, running silently beneath the sands of my life's experiences. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Well, welcome once again, friends. And that's a very beautiful uh, affirmation, a beautiful quality to aspire for. When Paramhans Yogananda ji was sharing his definition of meditation, there are many he presented, but the one most often used in meditation classes is meditation is the concentration on God or one of his aspects, and then absorption in those aspects. And there are 8 aspects, as you may remember. I'd like to repeat them for you. Yogananda ji said these 8 different experiences can come to people most easily, universally. Peace. And he said peace is the most universal one. Also, at another time, Kriyananda ji said it is the one we most quickly experience. You close your eyes, just in general, people say, let's say there's some cacophony around, or they're preparing for a meeting, or they simply want to go to bed. They just close their eyes. I just want to close my eyes. And they may retire into a room, they may shut their phone, they may not talk to somebody, but that when we close our eyes, when we interiorize, the very first thing we're looking for and we experience is inner peace. And the interesting thing is that it's not just peace, because sometimes peace can come many times from external things. You shut the door and it's slightly peaceful. You go to a forest, it's peaceful, and it's good to seek peace here and there. But then inner peace, as it is more easily called, or here Kriyananda ji saying peace of mind. uh, External things can help us experience it easily, but ultimately, as Christ said, I came to bring the sword, not peace. Which is to say, Yogananda ji explained that phrase and that statement. He said the peace that he brought, as again it would be repeated in the Bible, the peace that passeth all understanding. It is not a feeble, passive peace. It is the kind of sword Christ was saying, which can cut through all circumstances, all challenges, all distractions outside. But we have to start where we are, and we go stronger and stronger and deeper. But ultimately, as much as peace is a little bit, you might say, the feminine side, the masculine, or the brother sister, if you compare it that way, if peace is the sister, calmness is the brother. And calmness is the second aspect. Yogananda ji would say peace, and he would say calmness, joy, love. And there's a beautiful correlation in all of these. Joy is bliss. Master Swamiji would actually, I don't know if Master said this, but Swami would repeat this. He said, love, divine love is joy in movement. When we feel blissful, when we are, you might say, simply to put it, when you're in a happy mood, you naturally feel loving, you're easily forgiving to others. And little bit the same could be said of peace, because all of these are ultimately interrelated. When you're peaceful, well, it's like, okay, how does it matter whatever happened? We are easy going, you might say. We take ourselves and things that happen lightly. You may see still very deeply into matters, into a challenge, a problem, but the acceptance comes much more easily. So anyway, peace, calmness, then there was joy and love, there is wisdom and power, and finally light and sound. And of all these 8 universal experiences, Yogananda ji said peace is the most universal. Now I see somebody has raised their hand, but I don't know if that happens by mistake also. But friends, if you have a question, please write it down. I will come back to it towards the end of the class. So, as I was saying, peace is a common experience. People find it very easily in passive ways, most of the time, just by closing their eyes, but retiring into some quiet space. But then there comes a point where one perhaps learns how to meditate. And again, as we begin to meditate, it is one of the most common beginning experiences. People may at the same time realize, oh, my mind was very restless, or thoughts were disturbing me, or some memory came back to me, my body was fidgety. But you see, we are able to notice these things because we attain some sort of, you might say, peacefulness. It's like, I often like to compare it to a highway. When you're moving with all the other cars, we may be looking into another car which is going alongside, and we are both moving at 100 kilometers per hour. But so that is the state of the thoughts and our bodily movement sometimes in the mind. People don't realize what's really happening till you step out of the highway and you look at the zipping speed with which cars might be going. And that is exactly what happens sometimes in the very beginning of a meditation class. We say, okay, let's sit down, let's close our eyes, and what do we experience in good or in challenging ways? And people say the good thing was it was very peaceful, I like this place, I was somewhat quiet. But many times people say, oh, but my mind was racing. Now you see, the mind has always been racing, but peace brought it to our notice. So there are ways in which we can explore this subject. Now when we meditate, friends, Kriyananda ji had an advice. He said, get familiar with peace and get used to peace. Makes a lot. It's like get to know your neighbor. Now, what does it mean to get familiar with peace? The good news is it is inside each of us. As I said, it is an aspect of the divine. The scriptures declare the divine is within us, as Christ said, as Krishna said, as Buddha said. These high realities are within us. And again, I'm seeing Mr. Prabhakar raising a hand. Let me see. Sir, why don't you write a question? No sound? Is that right? Can you not hear me? Can you please write on the chat section if you're not hearing me? Just give me a moment here. Hello, Mr. Prabhakar. Please share. Hello. Okay. Okay, I'm hearing from others that you can hear me. Okay, so I'll go back to the talk. Okay, how do we do this? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so what was I saying? That Kriyananda ji said, get used to peace, get familiar with peace, and then get used to it, or get to know it. Now, used to means it's not an unpleasant thing, of course, but sometimes we may. Now, let's come to the first one, get familiar with peace. It's like we are familiar with our body, we are familiar with our hunger pattern. But sometimes some of these abstract concepts like peace, calmness, we may, on a subconscious level, we may have given up on them. Oh, I don't know if I can be peaceful. Or like people say, oh, I tried some yoga, it didn't work out for me. Oh, I tried to meditate, but it didn't work out for me, and things like that. No. A yogi, Paramahansa Yogananda said, he should have the strength and the commitment and the firmness of a rock, the gentleness of, he said, a plant, a tree, the vitality of an animal, and the refined feelings of a human being, which goes to say that we still have to become a human being in the proper sense of the term. And he said, now, when we truly become human, you might say we become divine, because human beings were meant to be divine. To be human, to be a human being is a step towards divinity. But many times we can forget that. Oh, I don't know, will I ever find peace? Or as so many people say, oh, I wish I died, or when death comes, I think I'll be at peaceful. I'm looking forward to the peace of the grave. No, Christ again would say peace can be had right here, right now, and we have to make some effort. Now, of course, there's the kind of peace which is passive. You say, oh, I'm very, very peaceful. This is very good, very relaxing. Or I will do nothing. I will retire into my room and all. Don't try it for too long, because that is the piece of reducing one's energy, mental energy, physical energy, and it doesn't help us. It is a subconscious reality, you might say. Then we are conscious right now, and and then Yogananda said, if we uplift our energy, often we equate energy with restlessness, with movement, with something is going to go out of control if too much energy comes. No, again, that dynamic peace Christ was talking about was tremendous, unceasing, uninterrupted in his case. Flow of energy which could give, which could serve, which could feel, which could, like a lake, as they say about peace, no? If it's a lake which is totally calm, it can see the reflection of all the stars and the moon, and you can think of all the people around Christ and around Yogananda ji and all these great masters, that when one soul attains that peace in his own heart, then he can easily see and feel the reflection of others. It's like a mother. When a mother is calm and still, she can just intuitively feel what is the need for a child, and this applies to every field. So when the heart is at rest, when we can feel that, Kriyananda is saying, get familiar with it through daily meditation, through some periods of silence, perhaps reflection on peaceful thoughts, the affirmation, through prayer and meditation. He's saying, why prayer and meditation? Well, first of all, when we meditate, often we work with the breath. The breath has a direct relation to the state of our thoughts. If the thoughts are all over the place, the breath goes like that. If the feelings, the emotions, the chitta, is all over the place, again, the breath moves to some degree with that. And ultimately, from a spiritual perspective, the yogis say, when the ego, is the ego is tied to the body through the breath also. And somebody once asked Yogananda ji, do your teachings bring peace to people? And Master said, Yogananda ji said, that is the least my teachings offer. He said, ultimately, my teachings help people be at peace with the Creator himself. Now, he was talking again of that highest level of spiritual peace. So, yes, we can calm the breath and the mind becomes calm and focused. People say, oh, I'm peaceful. I can focus right now on my work. I can get a lot of work done. Oh, I'm very peaceful in my emotions. By breath control, let us say, and meditation and pranayam. And I can now deal with an important challenge. I can deal with challenging people. I can have this important, difficult meeting and conversation now. I'm in a state of peace. Or one could say, well, I'm very peaceful. My breath and heart is very calm. My ego is no longer that constricted, narrow reality, narrow self-definition. I can be at peace with the Creator. I can talk to the Creator. I can have a conversation over here. I can try to understand why he made me go through whatever I had to go through, what's going on in the world, what really is in God's mind. We have all these questions. They don't come to everybody in the beginning. They ultimately, when people say, why is God doing this, what does God really want, I mean, this kind of gentle, you might say, spiritual exasperation that comes every now and then, that's because we haven't made peace with the Creator. And Yogananda said that is what ultimately his teachings help us experience. So getting familiar through affirmations, through meditation, through prayer, and then Swami said, get used to it, work through it. We experience it, Yogananda ji said, peace for little periods. When we are meditating, we feel peaceful. Let us say for 10 minutes a day. Or for some people, if you are a long-term meditator, let's say it's for 2 hours a day. Okay, you're feeling very peaceful in that time. Yogananda ji said in the beginning years, we are peaceful only when we are meditating, and a little bit in the daytime. But he said, by and large, most of the time, we still have restlessness. We are body bound. We are anxious, whatever. We are simply, let's say, neutral. He said, after some years, it becomes 50-50. Half the time, if somebody were to ask you, are you peaceful? You'd say, yeah, I'm pretty much okay. I'm quite peaceful. But still, I go through the day and I forget to be in peace. After some years and decades, Yoganandaji said, we are most of the time quite peaceful. There's hardly anything that ruffles us. And he said, ultimately, towards the end of one's life, after years of practice, he said one is in peace all the time. And but again, he would say, as he did in many places, why wait for such a long period? We could, through introspection, through working on our desires, feelings, we could come to that state much sooner. So anyway, nothing to feel bad about. Also, what happens is, friends, why does it take such a long time, you may say? If I experience peace when I learned how to meditate, why is it not working after 10 years? Why am I still experiencing those episodes of lack of peace? To put it in a short explanation, Yoganandaji said, this is where we feel peace at the heart and at the spiritual eye mostly. Of course, ultimately, Yoganandaji taught we should be able to feel it everywhere. We should walk in peace, like Kriyanandaji saying there's this blanket of peace. We extend that peace to others. But let's say in the beginning, we feel it in the heart and spiritual eye. Yoganandaji said in the back part of our brain and the spine, he said that is where some scars are logged. They are lodged over there. They are all from past lives. Even now, for those who may not believe in reincarnation, it's food for thought. Think about it, read about it in Yoganandaji's writings. But he said these are little energies that have gone here and there, and they are lodged in the astral spine. Now, when we are meditating, we are very intentional in our chant, prayer, exercise, pranayam, focus, visualization, affirmation. So we, in that moment, in those minutes, we say, okay, I'm going to experience peace. And by our will, we draw the divine grace. We put ourselves at that, you might say, point where we experience peace. But then what happens? We go out and we, you might say, some scars come up, they come to the surface. Now, it's nothing to feel bad about at all. Kriyanandaji used to say it's a reason to clap and rejoice. Oh, there's a little bit more work to be done. Okay, I'll do it in the evening meditation. Well, a little bit more, I'll do it in the morning meditation. Do it at different times of the day. Repeat this affirmation. Tell yourself, agitation never solved peace in any case. So if we are not at peace, our first job is to find ways, tools and techniques to get into peace and operate. When we are peaceful, friends, we are able to understand things much better. That word faith, comes from the Hindi equivalent is Vishwas. And Vishwas literally means Vishwas, Bina Shwas, without breath. So when we are agitated, we can't reason anything well, least of all the spiritual truths. So we have to take the saints and the masters on their word. But when we are calm after a meditation, read a scripture, pick it up, delve deeply. Introspection also, don't just begin right off the bat. After meditation, sit down and you will find that it is much easier to go to the heart of what may be disturbing our peace, and then each day, each time, to resolve it. And as I was saying, if it's lodged for a long time in our spine, then day by day by day, as Yogananda ji was saying, year after year, you get better. And ultimately, divine peace comes to us when, like Master said, you've made peace with the Creator. If there is a God, if he's so intelligent that he made everyone, everything, he became, they say, but let's say he made it all, he knows it all, then he knows what you and I should be doing in the highest aspect. I'm not talking about the details of everyday life. That too he knows, but we can't intellectualize that process. It's a flow. But above all, our job then becomes to realize and do the divine will. Then the mind is never agitated. Then the feelings are not doubtful. Then you say, well, I feel Vishwas, faith. I have this feeling. This is what God wants to do through me. And step by step by step, as Master used to say, a saint is a sinner who never gave up. So we move in that direction and we experience more and more peace. Ultimately, of course, the final state of unshakable peace, the state of God communion, unbroken God communion, comes through the grace of God Himself and Guru. But remember, it is already a big part of their grace that has brought us to this point where we continue to dive deeper and deeper and seek these realities more and more in ourselves. So I'd like to now then close with this affirmation once again. Let's take a moment to sit in silence. Let's reflect on those thoughts of approaching our daily practice of meditation, yoga, affirmation, chanting, introspection, till it guides us further into this deep state of rest. And now let's repeat the affirmation again, aloud in the beginning. From pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. In a normal voice, from pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. In a whisper now, from pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. Now only mentally, with deep concentration at the spiritual eye, the point between the two eyebrows. From pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. And finally, once again, mentally, as if holding this affirmation in our superconscious mind, in the light of God and the great saints, to impregnate these words in our mind, in our consciousness, in our behavior. From pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. Let's close with this prayer. All that I own is thine, Lord. Help me to know thee as the river of peace, running silently beneath the sands of my life's experiences. Om Shanti, Shanti. Please open your eyes. I'd like to just check the chat section. Okay, that's all good over here. Okay, friends. Now, Mr. Prabhakar Rao, I see your hand is raised again. Now, maybe it's just happening by mistake, or maybe you want to say something. So what I'll do is I'll allow you to talk. Please share, sir, something, what you're asking. I've unmuted you. Okay, I think it was happening by mistake. Now I'm going to go to the question answer. There's a question. I too hear it very low. Okay, maybe my sound was not that loud. Anyway, well, friends, thank you so much for coming. And please send us your feedback. If there are any questions, anything we could improve, I'd be very happy over here. Tanya Gupta, do you have a question? Yes, Tanya. You could unmute yourself, Tanya. You can talk, Tanya, you can talk.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, so in the morning when I get up, I have a cold and I start sneezing and I have a running nose, because of which I can't meditate. And when I meditate, I'm sneezing. I can't do any pranayam. So how do I heal myself and how do I then meditate? Because of the cold and everything, I'm not able to do anything in the morning.
Yes, you have to. Yogananda ji called cold a nagging problem. He said it can nag the happiness out of you. And then he added, because it allows the yogi, doesn't allow the yogi to meditate. Well,
Yeah.
Tanya, I would say you have to explore that challenge. Why is it coming? If there's an allergy, what is the allergy? Is it just a small immunity issue? Is it something you're eating at night or late night dinner or too much dairy products which are causing it? So I'd be happy off the line to do a medical chat. But yes, with a choked up nose and a runny nose, how can anybody meditate? So yeah, first step, as Yoganandaji would say, the Hindu scriptures declare, he wrote in the autobiography, that man's first responsibility is to keep his physical body in fit form, because otherwise it can become an impediment towards self-realization. So I would say, yeah, let's just do a chat and see what might be wrong. You could see a physician nearby or an ENT doctor to explore that. But nobody would be able to meditate in that situation. What do you know?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much
So
for
my
the
email
information.
address is Aditya, Aditya, at anandaindia.org. So if you will write there the challenge and share your phone number, I'll call you back.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Okay, Shobha, I'm going to allow you to talk. Mind you, friends, I'm doing this for the first time, allowing people to talk. So I'm just hoping it works. Shobha, can you talk now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Wonderful. This is simple. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
please.
I just want this affirmation in a written form. Can I have that? Because I would like to repeat this very often.
I will do that. Yes, I will share it.
Okay.
And how will I share it? I'll tell the monks who from Khandala do this every week. Today I'm a replacement because they had undergone through the cyclone situation. So I'm speaking from Pune, but I'll request Prem Das and Brahmachari Vineet to send you this affirmation.
Oh, it can be sent on email maybe.
Yeah, yeah. And let me make a note of it. Shobha. Okay. Namita?
Hello.
Yes. Hello,
Sir,
Namita.
good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, actually, I have spoken last time. Said this question even to Jaya Swami ji when he was giving the talks. I feel most of some 2-3 issues are there with respect to my health. They look like it's like arthritis and such small things. That it's not small. I mean, like what I mean to say is, these are most of them are karmic. I feel it has been carried over. So Jaya Swamiji said that I can talk to either you or Amar sir about this.
Sure. Yeah. Why don't you also write, Namita?
Yeah, I will just write the email.
Aditya, Aditya, Aditya at anandaindia.org. I'd be very happy to see the situation. And Dr. Amar is a physician, much more knowledgeable in these matters than me. And we could do a chat.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Now I'm seeing Shobha. Did you raise your hand again, Shobha? No.
No.
Okay. Okay, friends, anybody else? Or we could close. I'm seeing another question here. Okay. Please give me a moment. I'll just check. Here it says, is it normal to feel sleepy or tend to sleep while meditating? It's not, it is common in the beginning. It is not supposed to be normal. But why does it happen, friends? Because we have not developed a habit yet. So let's say when we close the eyes, the body gets this message, oh, it's time to sleep. So what did Yogananda ji teach for that? He said we have to keep the gaze uplifted, slightly uplifted. So if this is the line of horizon, gently uplifted, and that takes us into super consciousness, which is not a sleepy state. It's a state of wakefulness, a state of dynamic awareness. Whereas if we close the eyes and the eyeballs are looking down, then we go into the subconscious state. So in the beginning, it's a few weeks or a couple months of practice, keeping the spine straight, energizing before you meditate, taking a shower before you meditate, and being restful before you meditate, because the body has to cooperate with the process. So slowly, right from the very beginning, in lessons in meditation, when Yogananda ji his teachings are being shared, this is covered, how to slowly overcome that habit to fall asleep in meditation. Okay. And Prabhakarji, I am seeing your question. You're saying, is it like auto-suggestion? But I don't know what you're comparing it to. Affirmation is now an auto-suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the question, sir? Is affirmation similar to
Yes,
auto
yes.
suggestion?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So you could say yes, but Yogananda ji said auto suggestion would work for a person who, would just take it the way on belief little bit, or it is a good thing, let's explore it. But he said those who have a strong will and who want to get engaged in their own healing process, in this case we would say to uplift their own energy, he said something more than auto suggestion is required. It's not somebody else or we ourselves just passively suggesting something. We are very in a very aware state, in a very intentional way, we are moving towards that state of higher awareness. So an affirmation is a step above auto suggestion, I would say. It's a dynamic engagement of our will. We are also drawing in grace over here through the prayer. And so, yeah, those are the main things that differentiate between auto suggestion and affirmation.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Lot of thanks.
Okay. Thank you, friends, for joining. And this has been wonderful. Have a wonderful night and a good week ahead. God bless you.